Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar hosted by EPAM and General Electric, The Power of Best of Breed Integrating SAP Hybris and Sitecore, and this will include insights from General Electric. Before we get started, some presentation mechanics to cover today. We've scheduled this webinar for 1 hour. The presentation will be recorded and made available after the webinar. If you have any questions that you'd like to queue up, you can use the GoToWebinar question or chat windows to queue up the questions. We will have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. So my name is Miles Bunbury, and I am a Director of Technology Solutions here at EPAM. In particular, I'm responsible for the Hybris practice globally at EPAM, including thought leadership initiatives such as this webinar, and working with great clients such as General Electric. Today, I'm also speaking on behalf of EPAM's Sitecore practice, which has contributed extensively to this webinar content.
Hi everyone, my name is Diego Lopez Moreda. I'm the Digital Marketing Technology Leader at GE Healthcare Life Sciences.
And not presenting today, but contributors to the content are EPAM's Saurabh Sachdeva, our Sitecore Solution Architect, and Payal Bhatia, Lead Hybris Business Analyst. They'll be available for the Q&A portion of the webinar later on. So our agenda today is going to cover sort of 5 main things. We're going to start with leading digital solution architectures, and then drift into analyst views on best of breed. We'll follow that up with Power Unleashed, SAP Hybris plus Sitecore. Diego will then do a demo of the GE Healthcare solution, and I'll conclude with considerations and key takeaways. Given that you've chosen to invest your time in this webinar, chances are you're experiencing some digital pain. Perhaps you're just beginning your digital transformation journey and you aren't sure where to start. Or perhaps you have already embarked on your journey, however your solution is not delivering the results you want. Perhaps your solution is functional, but there is resistance in your organization because it does not help those interacting with it day to day get their work done. Maybe it's not nimble enough to adapt to your evolving IT landscape. Maybe your marketing and IT groups are warring. Navigating the complex landscape of content and commerce platforms can be challenging. How do you select? Here's what the analysts say. Our story begins with a report at a Forrester by Mark Grannon entitled Content and Commerce Technology, Traditional Marriage Dynamics Don't Apply Anymore. In this report, Mark talks about the evolving nature of content and commerce systems, something that EPAM has witnessed and driven as a digital thought leader for our clients. We see that solutions in these spaces are maturing, mergers and acquisitions are rampant, and their capabilities are expanding into new territories. Yesterday's architecture no longer applies. The Forrester report highlights 7 options for integrating commerce and content solutions to solve enterprise-grade digital needs. Each of these patterns has its own pros and cons, and each may be ideal for a particular niche. However, out of these 7 options, 2 are emerging as the winning architecture in the vast majority of cases, and this is what EPAM sees from the market as well. The first pattern is an e-commerce only solution. Essentially, e-commerce solutions as a class have grown in sophistication and capabilities over the years, and in many cases are now simply good enough. The second pattern is headless commerce. This pattern recognizes that for many organizations like GE Healthcare, good enough is not sufficient. They want best-in-class capabilities to outperform their competitors and bring agility to their business. Thus, they decide to marry an e-commerce solution to a CMS solution to achieve the best both worlds have to offer. This is the gold standard for digital architecture today, but which platforms make sense in this setup? Let's take a look at what is best in each world, starting with commerce. On the left, we can see Gartner's 2017 Magic Quadrant for commerce platforms. Similarly, on the right, we see the 2017 Forrester Wave for both B2C and B2B commerce. When it comes to best-of-breed commerce platforms, Gartner and Forrester agree. It is SAP Hybris Commerce, which is number 1 in each of the upper right corners of these graphics. Next, let's take a look at what is best in the CMS landscape. On the left, we can see Gartner's 2017 Magic Quadrant for CMS platforms. Similarly, on the right, we see the 2017 Forrester Wave for content. Unlike commerce, the content landscape is more competitive, with Adobe Experience Manager, Acquia, and Sitecore all reflecting well in both analyst reports. However, based on EPAM's extensive and global experience with content platforms, we have detected a trend in the market pointing towards growing interest in Sitecore as the up-and-coming content platform of choice. What happens when we marry the best commerce platform with the best content platform? EPAM has detected a wave of interest from the market in marrying SAP Hybris Commerce with Sitecore.
Leading enterprises are foregoing the former CMS king, Adobe Experience Manager, in favor of this pairing and realizing great results. Let's take a closer look at these platforms. SAP Hybris Commerce is a modern, flexible, and modular commerce solution. Hybris delivers an omni-channel solution across channels like web, mobile, and point of sale while unifying commerce processes and commerce-focused data management. Along with being a robust solution that can host and provide a single view of customers, products, and orders, Hybris can also efficiently integrate into ERP, CRM, OMS, and other systems. Though the platform can handle complex solutions, it strives to provide simple processes and lower adoption and training effort by providing a consistent back-end experience in its various modules. Hybris also has an extensive ecosystem of leading third-party digital product providers that have developed connectors for Hybris and natively integrates into the world's leading back-end enterprise software by SAP, thereby reducing implementation costs. The Sitecore Experience Platform is a digital experience platform that is omni-channel in nature, including web, mobile, social, email, commerce, and more. It is most often used for end-user-facing systems. Sitecore's roots as a web content management system, and this is still a key feature of Sitecore today. Furthermore, Sitecore's experience management lets you gather, combine, and analyze information about how each individual customer has interacted with your brand, both in real time and historically. This is powered by the Experience Database, a database of all user interactions tracked by Sitecore. Sitecore is also built to integrate with other systems in the digital landscape. Now that I've outlined both SAP Hybris Commerce and Sitecore, let's reflect back on the Forrester report from the beginning of this webinar. One of the conclusions reached was that the commerce and content worlds are converging. With that in mind, let's spend some time comparing both of these leading platforms side by side. Products are at the heart of an e-commerce solution, and Hybris has in-depth ability to handle a variety of complex product types, including hierarchical variants like size and color, bundling, and configurable products. Sitecore can handle products as well, however the capabilities are not as rich out of the box. Both Hybris and Sitecore are capable of operating as a standalone product information management, or PIM, system if desired. However, Hybris has a few extra bells and whistles in this space, like their classification engine, which gives it the edge. Both Hybris and Sitecore handle pricing, but Hybris has more flexible and varied pricing options such as bulk pricing and time-based pricing. With respect to promotion engines, the two platforms are fairly similar in out-of-the-box functionality with a suite of promotion types on offer, coupons, and rule engine-based promotion engines, though the technology behind those rule engines differs. When it comes to checkout, Hybris wins based on its roots as an e-commerce engine. Out of the box, it has an almost fully functional checkout, needing only a payment provider connected to it. Sitecore has equivalent API hooks to tap into, but does not offer any equivalent ready-to-go functionality. In recent releases, Hybris has made a series of investments in its OMS offering, to the point that it can now displace many standalone OMS solutions with its pick and pack, warehouse assignment, order splitting, and consignment capabilities. Sitecore has some basic order management capabilities, but lacks these more comprehensive features. Sitecore really shines in the web content management space, offering a much more intuitive user interface that more naturally fits the needs of content curators and merchandisers than the Hybris offering. This reflects Sitecore's roots as a content engine. Similarly, although both platforms can describe and execute complex workflows, Sitecore more naturally enables non-technical users to construct new workflows, while Hybris benefits from someone technical doing the workflow creation. While Hybris comes with some integration with Google Analytics and has an ability to export data for external analysis, Sitecore has a more robust offering out of the box, including its own data export capabilities and adding reporting on top of its proprietary analytic engine. SAP Hybris Commerce ships with its behavioral target groups functionality for segmentation and personalization. However, EPAM's performance testing has shown that this subsystem is a significant performance drain on the platform. SAP typically recommends SAP Hybris Marketing as its personalization engine now. In contrast, Sitecore has rich personalization capabilities that are easier to configure and more efficient in their execution. In fact, personalization is one of Sitecore's most acclaimed feature areas, rivaling web content management as a standout functional area. Sitecore does not support customer service capabilities out of the box. In contrast, Hybris has been making investments in this area,
renewing their customer service cockpit and introducing their assisted service module that lets customer service agents leverage the storefront on behalf of a customer. Recent API enhancements also improve support for headless commerce scenarios. Lastly, both platforms are flexible with integrations and well adapted to the fragmented digital landscape. However, Hybris edges out a win here with its native support for industry-leading SAP backend systems such as ERP, CRM, and S/4HANA, along with access to cloud-based microservices and Data Hub, which offers ESB-like capabilities. Both platforms also have a robust marketplace of third-party product connectors and add-ins. Sitecore's marketplace heavily emphasizes digital marketing, while Hybris' marketplace includes more e-commerce extensions, but is also more well-rounded in general due to its greater maturity. When we marry Hybris and Sitecore together in a headless commerce architecture, we can start to see why this pairing is trending in the market. With leading-edge content capabilities, Sitecore is able to better serve the needs of content curators, merchandisers, and others operating on the business side of an organization and interacting daily with the solution. Similarly, with leading-edge commerce capabilities, Hybris is able to handle the heavy lifting behind the scenes, offering a richer, more complex, and nuanced representation of today's complex businesses. This better serves the needs of an organization's IT department. In essence, we have the best of both worlds. So what does it take to connect these two popular platforms? EPAM, in response to this market demand, has developed the first Sitecore plus Hybris connector. Leveraging Sitecore's Commerce Connect framework, we are able to seamlessly tap into Sitecore's natural commerce tendencies and power them using Hybris' Omnichannel Connect RESTful Web Service API layer. This is done via an interpretive layer that translates the Hybris commerce world into a language that Sitecore understands. The solution is therefore very stable in the face of upgrades of either system and does not require extensive customization or long setup times because it works with each platform rather than fighting against them. This connector has become the gold standard in connecting these two leading platforms, as recently showcased at the Sitecore Virtual Summit and at the Festival of Marketing. Let's see how Sitecore and Hybris work together in the real world using this connector, as showcased by the solution General Electric Healthcare envisioned and is now publicly available.
Thanks, Miles. So we're going to jump straight into how we can easily manage product data between Hybris and Sitecore. So we can publish content to our new product pages, as you see them here. So let's say that we have a new product introduction, a new version of one of our filters that we need to publish. So going straight into the Hybris product cockpit here, we can search for the new variant or SKU, which has already been created from our product lifecycle management system, which in turn feeds all product creation, update, and deletion events to Hybris. Perhaps I think the video might be paused.
Is it working for you, Diego?
No, it's unfortunately it's stopped for me. Is it rolling for you?
It's operating over here. Let me rewind a bit. Any luck, Diego?
I just see a frozen image of one of our product pages. I don't see the video rolling. Okay, now I see it moving. So yeah, picking up from where we were before, we find the variant that we want to create, and was already been created in our product lifecycle management system. After finding this product, we search for the ID of the product family and associate the SKU or variant with the product family itself. After this is done, then we can synchronize with our online catalog within Hybris, as you can see here. And we can verify that the SKU or variant is visible in the new family, still not visible in the product page, as we haven't sent the data to Sitecore itself. Now we can just quickly verify that the new variant has been added to the base product. As you can see here, we have 5 variants attached to the product family, but still only 4 on the product page, as we haven't sent the data to Sitecore yet. Now we can just add some specific text information for this product. Write some demo text here, adding a new heading. And once that's been added, then we can save and synchronize once again, as we did before. We'll have to synchronize from our staging catalog to our online catalog. And once it's done, we can jump straight into Sitecore. And under the content tree, we simply search for the base product that we edited before in Hybris. Once we find it, we can just quickly verify that the data that we edited before in the product cockpit is not visible yet, as we haven't synchronized this product. Now we can go ahead and just synchronize it under the Hybris Connect module. And now we can see that the data is visible. And finally, we could just publish the item in Sitecore. Once that is done and the publish is complete, then we can go ahead and synchronize the variant that we added before in order to publish the new SKU for this family. And once we found the variant, we can go ahead and publish the item in Sitecore. Once we publish this item, specifically the variant, and the publication process is complete, you can see here, we'll make sure that we publish all sub-items and related items. And the publication process is complete. Then we can go back to the product page, and we can verify that the text that we added first in Hybris and Sitecore is visible on the product page. And the additional variant or SKU that we added is also visible now on the front end. And one of the benefits of using this solution is that with Hybris, we can also easily go into the system and verify the order. So we won't go through the whole checkout process here, but we can easily see that this new variant that we've added in the whole workflow, we can easily go into Hybris Management Console or HMC and log in, and then under the orders view, we can quickly drill down into the specific order by searching for it by order number. And once we drill down into the order, we can see specifics of the order, how many items have been placed in the order, and the status of the order as well. That's end-to-end the workflow that we use.
Thank you, Diego. While the combination of Sitecore and Hybris is both powerful and compelling, there are some drawbacks to be aware of. First, solutions in the digital space are complex by nature. Certainly both Hybris and Sitecore on their own are complex platforms able to solve complex requirements. Bringing the two together, however, increases the complexity involved, as there are now 2 major platforms to contend with, in addition to all the minor players a fully baked solution entails. This means more integrations, more potential points of failure, more data exchanges and data caching, and more challenging diagnoses if something goes wrong. Adopting these platforms is always a learning journey for those that need to manage them and operate them as part of their day-to-day activities. While a properly solutioned Sitecore plus Hybris solution will isolate key employee functions and roles to one platform or the other, fundamentally there are still 2 platforms in play, and the organization as a whole will have a steeper learning curve. Hybris and Sitecore do not share the same technology stack. Hybris is Java-based, whereas Sitecore is based on .NET. This means that the IT organization will need to incorporate additional skill sets to build or support the organization, or the organization will have to source their system integrator from a limited set of companies like EPAM that have specialization in both. When considering the evolution of a Sitecore plus Hybris solution, platform upgrades are a key consideration. With two major platforms in place, the overall upgrade effort is heavier than with a single platform as your solution. However, this extra lift is offset by being able to upgrade only one piece of the system at a time, bringing some increased agility to the solution and ensuring that upgrades can be focused around derived business value. Lastly, a headless commerce solution, while more powerful, is also more expensive to license, build, and maintain. Only those committed to unleashing the benefits of true digital transformation within their organizations will reap the necessary ROI to justify the cost. So, you're sold on the benefits of Hybris plus Sitecore. What do you do? Let's say that you already have an existing SAP Hybris Commerce implementation. This implies that you have a working transactional site, likely using Hybris' CMS capabilities, that you seek to replace with those in Sitecore. To achieve this goal, on the Hybris side, you will need to ensure that the Omnichannel Connect RESTful Web Service layer is available and access is configured using OAuth. Sitecore will need to be installed, including Sitecore Commerce Connect. Sitecore packages, including EPAM's Sitecore plus Hybris connector, will need to be deployed. Both will need to be configured and customized to match the customizations already present in the Hybris data model, etc. Since Sitecore will assume the responsibility of serving web pages to the consumer, a 401 redirect mapping should be developed, mapping former Hybris pages to their new Sitecore counterparts in order to preserve search engine rankings post-cutover. Ideally, Hybris and Sitecore will live in the same server environment to eliminate latency in the solution. EPAM recommends avoiding boiling the ocean and resisting the urge to introduce net new business requirements during the initial release. These additional bells and whistles can be done via fast follow releases after the initial Hybris plus Sitecore go live. However, for those willing to be bold, the beauty of this evolution of your digital solution is that, if you wish, you can run both a Sitecore storefront and a Hybris storefront concurrently for a period of time. This is feasible because in either case, Hybris maintains ownership of the transactional data and other back-end considerations. This allows you to A/B test your new and old sites, which can be especially beneficial if you also seek to redesign your user experience at the same time as when you introduce Sitecore. On the flip side, if you have an existing Sitecore solution, you are likely starting from a non-transactional digital offering. In this case, EPAM recommends that you introduce Hybris in numerous smaller releases, each of which brings you closer to the end goal of a fully transactional e-commerce solution. The first step would be to introduce EPAM's Sitecore plus Hybris connector and connect SAP Hybris Commerce to the existing Sitecore solution. Then, using the connector, migrate any existing data that Hybris should now serve down to Hybris and have Sitecore retrieve it through the connector. From there, you can begin to build out the other transactional pieces of the final solution, going live with enhanced value each step of the way. No products in Sitecore? Introduce PIM capabilities via Hybris and feed those up to Sitecore. No pricing? Add those to Hybris and have Sitecore display them. Then inventory information, and so on. The checkout process typically has a multitude of integration points to address, and therefore can be the heaviest, but also the most rewarding part to introduce. Keeping it simple with a single payment method, anonymous checkout, and other simplifications will help this part go live sooner. Once basic transactional capabilities are available, additional complexity can be introduced until a fully omnichannel experience has been realized. Summarizing what we have talked about today. First, there are two patterns winning in the battle for digital solution architecture: e-commerce only and headless commerce. Of the two, headless commerce is the gold standard for digital architecture. Second, Gartner and Forrester agree that Hybris and Sitecore are best of breed in their respective domains. By combining Hybris and Sitecore, the power each has to offer can be unleashed, satisfying the most creative business people and the most scrupulous IT personnel. Next, EPAM's exclusive Sitecore plus Hybris connector can accelerate the development of this digital solution. This is evidenced by General Electric Healthcare, which has benefited from this solution as we have seen through the demo. If you have one of these platforms and wish to introduce the other, there is a defined path that you can take to reach this more powerful solution. And lastly, if you have neither platform in place, EPAM can help with its rare expertise in both platforms. Before we conclude, let's hear from GE Healthcare one more time about the amazing results they've experienced using Hybris and Sitecore together.
Thanks again, Miles. So some of the benefits that we've seen in this short period of time, some of them internal to start off with, we've taken advantage of simplified workflows for product data, going from separate PIM and e-commerce applications down to one, which has been a big win. This has given more visibility to our content managers and creators, which can easily track the flow of data through the Hybris connector. We've also starting to see some improved visibility for our commercial team, who have easier time tracking front-end orders. And as we start tracking the interactions of a new platform that's based on these two systems, we starting to see some early customer data that shows an increase in average order value and a decrease in cart abandonment, which is great. And finally, we're kind of looking forward and starting to work on the ability to set product recommendations and personalization rules that will be based both on the Hybris out-of-the-box rules and the Sitecore, powerful Sitecore personalization engine. So overall, the Hybris Sitecore integration is allowing us to seamlessly join product information management and the front-end publication layer, while we take advantage of personalization and product recommendations in an effective way.
For those of you not familiar with EPAM, EPAM is a 24-year-old global company with revenues in excess of $1 billion. We have over 20,000 employees and have expertise in a number of industry domains well suited for a Sitecore plus Hybris digital solution. We are a true end-to-end solution provider, able to assist you with your digital transformation journey and any other strategic imperatives your organization may have. Thank you for listening. If you are part of the live session, we will now open up the lines for our Q&A session. If you are watching this as a recording and you would like to reach out to know more, please use the Learn More links or address your questions to the key contact information you see on the screen. So again, the GoToWebinar tool provides a chat and question window, so you're welcome to type your questions in there, and we'll be, Diego and I, and if needed, Pyle and Sarab will be happy to answer those questions. So why don't I get started just with a question here to Diego. Diego, how are products recommended within the solution?
So we are looking to use a hybrid approach and leverage the out-of-the-box Hybris product recommendation engine that allows us to set the relationship across the product catalog based on product areas and product attributes. And going forward, our aim is to make sure that we marry this together with the Sitecore personalization engine, and make sure that we can rely on a mixture of both of these personalization rules from both systems.
Okay. Next question. These platforms are constantly evolving. In the years ahead, how likely is the headless commerce architecture likely to remain the gold standard for digital architecture? So I'll field this one. So based on EPAM's experience in the digital landscape, both Hybris and Sitecore, you know, the headless commerce scenario certainly is the gold standard today. But we also agree with the Forrester report in that there's a degree of convergence happening between all of these platforms, whether it's Hybris and its traditional e-commerce competitors, or whether it's Sitecore and its traditional sort of CMS competitors. Everyone's sort of just embracing sort of, you know, the omni-channel nature of digital, and the fact that you can't just have all these systems glued together. You need sort of one solution that operates there. So we certainly expect each of these platforms individually to continue to evolve and better support a true digital solution. Is that going to happen overnight? No. So, you know, headless commerce is likely going to remain the gold standard for digital architecture in the year ahead, probably in a few years ahead. But if we look out, you know, on a 5 or 10 year horizon, we may very well reach a point where you truly can have one platform that really is, you know, a rock star in many functional areas. So the landscape is ever evolving, and obviously you want to remain current with your digital needs, and you know that's where, you know, a thought leader like EPAM can help. Okay. See one more question here. Diego, what lessons did you learn from integrating Sitecore and Hybris?
So we wanted to make sure from the beginning that we took a phased approach. Obviously, we could have perfectly well gone with all-out approach of integrating the recommendation engine from the very beginning, but we wanted to make sure that we focused on getting the basics of our taxonomy and our product hierarchy set in Hybris, and making sure that in relation to transferring that catalog data into Sitecore, that was really the bread and butter that we needed to get right. And that in itself is a task that requires a lot of effort and a lot of resources. So it's good to make sure that that is the main focus first, and then moving over to recommendation and personalization as a phase 2 activity.
All right. Thank you, Diego. That looks like that's all the questions we have for today. So with that, I'll thank everyone for attending, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.